All stand and remain standing until the conclusion of the reading of the proclamation. Ladies and gentlemen, the proclamation. All persons having any business before this honorable court now draw nigh, give your attendance, and you shall be heard.
Yes, have a seat. Thank you.
Admission of lawyers. Sika Acharya.
May it please the court, I move that Sika Acharya be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sika Acharya be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kadir Yahya Aga.
May it please the court, I move that Kadir Agar be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kadir Agar be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Joel Anjul.
May it please the court, I move that Joel Anjul be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Joel Anjul be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sophie Rhiannon Ash.
May it please the court, I move that Sophie Rhiannon Ash be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sophie Rhiannon Ash be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Samia Asim.
May it please the court, I move that Samiha Asim be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Samia Asim be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Joshua Nathaniel Baglin.
May it please the court, I move that Joshua Nathaniel Baglin be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Joshua Nathaniel Baglin be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Nikhil Banerjee.
May it please the court, I move that Nikhil Banerjee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Nikhil Banerjee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Nicholas David Buxton.
May it please the court, I move that Nicholas David Buxton be admitted as lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Nicholas David Buxton be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Glenn Francis Cardinia.
May it please the court, I move that Glenn Francis Cardinia be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Glenn Francis Cardinio be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Nawad Ahmed Sina.
May it please this court, I move that Nawad Ahmed Sina be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Nawid Ahmed Sina be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Andre Aman Ali Dalatsi.
May it please the court, I move that Andre Aman Ali Dalati be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Andre Aman Ali Dalatsi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tamanda Louise Foreman.
May it please the court, I move that Tamanda Louise Foreman be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Tumanda Louise Foreman be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yi Jing Gan.
May it please the court, I move that Yi Jing Gan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Li Jin Gan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Caitlin Gautama.
May it please the court, I move that Caitlin Gautama be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Caitlin Gautama be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Shanice Rita Hafer.
May it please the court, I move that Shanice Rita Hafer be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Shanice Rita Hafer be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Julia Joan McSimon Henderson.
May it please the court, I move that Julia Joan McSimon Henderson be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Julia Joan McSimon Henderson be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yi Ji.
May it please the court, I move that Yi Ji be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Yi Ji be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Anu Kandel.
May it please the court, I move that Anu Kandel be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Anu Kandel be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Daniel Raphael Kangisa.
May it please the court, I move that my brother, Daniel Raphael Kangisa, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Daniel Raphael Kangisa be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jamie Xiao Young Lee.
May it please the court, I move that Jamie Xiao Young Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jamie Xiao Young Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jenna Mihaela Lennon.
May it please the court, I move that Jenna Mihaela Lennon be admitted as a lawyer to this honourable court.
Let Jenna Mihaela Lennon be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Robert Henry Massey Bloor.
May it please the court, I move that Robert Henry Massey Bloor be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Robert Henry Massey Bloor be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Isaac Alexander McGregor.
May it please the court, I move that Isaac Alexander McGregor be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Isaac Alexander McGregor be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Veronica Beth Deborah Mitchell.
May it please the court, I move that Veronica Beth Deborah Mitchell be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Veronica Beth Deborah Mitchell be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Karina Louise Oakley.
May it please the court, I move that Karina Louise Oakley be admitted as a lawyer to this honourable court.
Let Karina Louise Oakley be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Christopher Owen Register.
May it please the court, I move that Christopher Owen Register be admitted as a lawyer to this honourable court.
Let Christopher Owen Register be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Laura Joy Riddell.
May it please the court, I move that Laura Joy Riddell be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Laura Joy Riddell be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Adam Peter Ryan.
May it please the court, I move that Adam Peter Ryan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Adam Peter Ryan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ashit Jasvantlal Shah.
May it please the court, I move that Ashit Javantlal Shah be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ashit Jasvantal Shah be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yuchain Xiang.
May it please the court, I move that Yuche Shang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Yuquan Shang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Chanel Soriel.
May it please the court, I move that Chanel Soriel be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Chanel Soriel be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Liam Steele Battig.
May it please the court, I move that Liam Steele Battig be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Liam Steele Battig be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Will Hart Stenmark.
May it please the court, I move that my nephew, Will Hart Stenmark, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Will Hart Stenmark be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Madeline Georgia Stevens.
May it please the court, I move that Madeline Georgia Stevens be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Madeline Georgia Stevens be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Pedro Antonio Teleria Teixeira.
May it please the court, I move that Pedro Antonio Teleria Teixeira be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Pedro Antonio Teleria Teixeira be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Zachary Joseph Thomas.
May it please the court, I move that Zachary Joseph Thomas be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Zachary Joseph Thomas be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Joshua Edward Thomas.
May it please the court, I move that Joshua Edward Thomas be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Joshua Edward Thomas be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Penny Thompson.
May it please the court, I move that my granddaughter Penny Thompson be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Penny Thompson be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kaylee Ona Tilsey.
May it please the court, I move that my daughter Kaylee Anna Tilsley be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kaylee Ona Tilsley be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sachi Tiwari.
May it please the court, I move that Sashi Tiwari be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sachi Tiwari be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Peter Leighton Toms.
May it please the court, I move that Peter Leighton Toms be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Peter Leighton Toms be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Caleb Colin Vickers McEwen.
May it please the court, I move that Caleb Colin Vickers McEwen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Caleb Colin Vickers McEwen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kimberly Ann Voss.
May it please the court, I move that Kimberly Ann Voss be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kimberly Ann Voss be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
David Samuel William Wall.
May it please the court, I move that David Samuel William Wall be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let David Samuel William Wall be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Chen Yang Wan.
May it please the court, I move that Chen Yang Wan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Cheng Yang Wan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Wei Wang.
May it please the court, I move that Wei Wang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Wei Wang be admitted as a lawyer of this court. It will be necessary for those whose admission has been moved to stand and take the oath or make a declaration. I'd ask you to do so in accordance with the directions of the officer, please.
Could rows 1 and 2 on my right please stand? Sika Acharya, Kadir Yaya Agar, Joel Anjul, Sophie Rhiannon Ash, Samia Asim, Joshua Nathaniel Baglin, Nikhil Banerjee, Nicholas David Buxton, Glenn Francis Cardinio, Nawad Ahmed Sina, Andre Aman Ali Dalatsi, Tamanda Louise Foreman, Yi Jin Gan, Caitlin Gitama, Shanice Rita Hafer, and Julia Joan McSimon Henderson. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"?
So help me God.
Thank you. Please sit down. And could rows 3 and 4 on my right please stand? Yi Ji, Anu Kandel, Daniel Raphael Kangasa, Jamie Seo Young Lee, Jenna Mahala Lennon, Robert Henry Massey Bloor, Isaac Alexander McGregor, Veronica Beth Deborah Mitchell, Karina Louise Oakley, Christopher Owen Register, Laura Joy Riddell, Adam Peter Ryan, Ashit Jasvantlal Shah, Yuchain Shang, Chanel Soriel, Liam Steele Batig, William Hart Stenmark. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"?
So help me God.
Thank you. Please sit down. And could the 2 rows on my left please stand up? Madeline Georgia Stevens, Pedro Antonio Teleria Teixeira, Zachary Joseph Thomas, Joshua Edward Thomas, Penny Thompson, Kaylee Ona Tilsley, Sashi Tiwari, Peter Layton Toms, Caleb Colin Vickers McEwen, Kimberly Ann Voss, David Samuel William Wall, Chen Yang Wan, Wei Wang. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"?
So help me God.
Thank you. Please sit down.
Now that the formal part of today's proceedings is concluded, I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to everybody here this morning to the Supreme Court of New South Wales. I'm Justice Bellew. I'm a judge of the Common Law Division of the Court. On my right is Justice Dark, who is a judge of the Equity Division of the Court, and on my left is Justice Yehia, who is also a judge of the Common Law Division, like myself. Together, we constitute the bench of the court today, which has admitted these lawyers to practice in the exercise of the court's jurisdiction. We conduct this ceremony today on the land of the Gadigal, and we pay our respects to the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation and to their elders past, present and emerging. The ceremony that you've just witnessed is a very old one. It dates back many hundreds of years. That probably won't come as a surprise to anybody for the simple reason that the law, I think, is famous for maintaining its traditions. And it's part of the maintenance of those traditions that we mark this very special occasion with the ceremony that you've just witnessed. It's important, I think, that the law maintains its traditions, but it's equally important that the law evolves and that it moves with the times and that it adapts to the changes that are inevitable in our society. And the reason that that's important is because if the law doesn't do that, the inevitable result is some form of injustice or another. We are very fortunate in our profession today to enjoy a profession which is diverse both in terms of gender and culture. But it wasn't always that way. It's difficult to imagine as we sit here today that there was a time in the state of New South Wales where women, even though they may have been qualified to practice law, could not be admitted to practice because there was a law against it. Thankfully, some pioneers in our profession chose to take up the cudgel, as it were, and press for reform. Absent that type of reform, the injustice that would have followed, and for a period of time did follow, was that talented people, talented women were excluded from our profession. Thankfully, as we sit here today, that has changed. It started to change in particular in the early to mid-1950s, when a lady by the name of Jean Austen was employed as a typist in the office of the Crown Solicitor in Sydney. She decided over a period of time that she wanted to study law. And she was told in no uncertain terms that she should stop being so silly and just get back to the typing pool. Thankfully, she didn't. She persevered. And some years later, not only did Jean Austen graduate in law with the University Medal, but she became the Deputy Crown Solicitor for the Commonwealth. And in that role, she ran the office, which included the typing pool, from which she was told she would never ever emerge. Thankfully, as I say, we have come a long way, but we must always do more. And in particular, we must always promote both gender and cultural diversity in our profession. And the reason for that is very simple. Public confidence in the law is enhanced when those who practice it, and for that matter, those who administer it, are properly representative of the very diverse community in which we are all so fortunate to live. In addressing some comments to the newly admitted lawyers today, the first thing I want to do is to say congratulations. You have worked incredibly hard to get here, and you can be very, very proud of your efforts. The fact that a good proportion of your studies, I suspect, was pursued in circumstances where you were challenged, like everybody, by the pandemic, renders your efforts even more meritorious than they would otherwise be. Today, put simply, is a day of great celebration. I can tell you from experience that the day of your admission and the memory of your admission today will never ever leave you. It is, I regret to say, almost 40 years, it will be 40 years in November, since I sat in the second row on my right and was admitted to practice in this court. That is, as I say, a very, very long time ago. But notwithstanding that passage of time, and leaving aside the obvious thing that we have in common, I anticipate that we also have one other thing in common as well. Because I'm confident that, like me, each of you would acknowledge that you would not be sitting in this courtroom today if it were not for the support and the encouragement of your partners and your family and your friends. I was the beneficiary of unqualified support from two people who I was fortunate enough to simply call Mum and Dad. My mother went to stratospheric efforts to support my studies, including telling all and sundry that her son would not only successfully pass his exams, but he would apparently go on to great things. She told that to anybody who wanted to listen. Regrettably, she told it to a lot of people who didn't want to listen, one of whom once called her out and said, "Well, how can you be so sure?" She said, "Well, that's very simple. I'm praying to St. Jude, and he's the patron saint of hopeless cases." The news that I was a hopeless case was very troubling at the time, and I remember being quite traumatised about it for a period. But my mother, being my mother, meant it in the nicest possible way. My point in saying that is simply this. Today, of course, is your day, and it's a day for you to celebrate. It is also a day for those who've made this journey with you. Please do not let today end without thanking them. There is, of course, a serious side to all of this as well. And the serious side stems from the fact that as a consequence of your admission to practice today, you now have duties and responsibilities which are onerous. And they are far more onerous than duties and responsibilities that are imposed on other members of our community. Time doesn't permit me, obviously, to make reference to all of them, but there are a couple to which I wish to refer. And the first is this. It is fundamental that in your practice of the law, you act at all times with absolute honesty. It is no coincidence that the affirmation or the oath that you took only a few moments ago when you were admitted makes specific reference to discharging your responsibilities honestly. And the reason for that is that our system of justice and our legal system is predicated fundamentally on the proposition that those who practice within it will do so with absolute honesty, absolute candour, and absolute integrity. And the reason for that is very simple. If practitioners don't conduct themselves in that way, then the system is at risk of breaking down. Justice Gageler of the High Court summed up a legal practitioner's responsibilities in this respect when he once said that a lawyer must give the same answer to the same question for the same reasons, irrespective of who's asking the question, irrespective of why it's being asked, and irrespective of the context in which it's being asked. That is very wise counsel, if I might respectfully say so, and it is something that you should always have at the forefront of your minds. Equally importantly is the fact that as a consequence of your admission this morning, you are now the trustees, the custodians, the guardians of the rule of law. Now, that is not a rhetorical flourish on my part. It's not a series of words that I've strung together because I think it might sound impressive. The simple fact of the matter is that if we don't have the rule of law, we don't have the rule of anything. And whilst the rule of law has a number of separate concepts, at its most basic, it means that everybody is entitled to the law, and everybody is bound by the law, and everybody is entitled to the benefit of the law. It's my own personal view, and it's no more than that, that one of the most disturbing trends that has emerged in recent years has been the preparedness of people generally, some members of the media perhaps in particular, to criticise lawyers for defending and upholding the rights of people who might be regarded as unpopular or people who might promote causes which are unpopular. And the reason that that criticism is unjustified is that what those lawyers are doing is simply defending and upholding the rule of law. You must never ever abdicate your responsibility to do so if and when the circumstances present themselves. As a former Chief Justice of this court was wont to say on occasions like this, if lawyers don't defend the rule of law, judges can't. And if judges don't, can I tell you, nobody will. The other thing that your admission brings is the chance to be an educator. Your qualifications and your admission to practice mean that you can now engage in debate and, in particular, correct misconceptions about the law when that's warranted. But you can also adopt the role of an educator in another very important way. I have always held a very firm view that those of us who are fortunate enough to have been admitted to practice and who have had the privilege of being a member of the legal profession should always make extracurricular contributions when the opportunities present themselves. And one of the contributions that you are now able to make is to assist young people who might be considering a career in the law to make an informed choice, or in the case where that choice has been exercised to enter the profession, to help them to develop their skills to become better lawyers. Speaking from my own experience, when I started to form a view at high school that I wanted to study law, the fact was that I didn't really know very much about what was involved. I did not know a single lawyer. I thought that the law would be something that would resonate with me and I with it, but the fact was that I didn't really know. I have reflected more than once in that time about how good it would have been had I been able to talk to a member of the profession and to find out what practicing law was really all about. You now have that opportunity. I encourage you to take that opportunity when it presents itself. You will find mentoring young people a very rewarding experience. Theodore Roosevelt was the 26th President of the United States. And he once said that nothing in this world is worth having or worth doing unless it means effort, pain and difficulty. I'm not sure what the President was talking about, but if he was talking about legal practice, he was completely and utterly accurate. One of the great leaders of our criminal bar in the state of New South Wales in years gone by was a man called Chester Porter. He was so mercurial that the tabloid press would proclaim on the occasion of his many victories that Chester Porter walked on water. And he wrote a book which contained his memoirs. And he explained that when you're a legal practitioner, there will be times when you walk in the clouds and there will be times when you walk in deep despair. The only thing that I would add to that is that those occasions can happen within the space of a day, and they can happen on some occasions within the space of a few minutes. It is an unfortunate fact of life that some degree of disappointment and some degree of failure probably awaits you. You will never win every case despite your best efforts. You may not even, despite your best efforts, please every client for whom you act. And on those occasions when things don't go as well as you might have hoped. Please don't fall into the time-honoured tradition of blaming the judge for everything. It won't do you any good. What you should do now, as a member of a very collegiate profession, is turn to your peers. Because when things don't go quite as well as you might have liked them to, you will find your peers a source of constant support. And in that regard, we have two practitioners here this morning who I'm going to call upon to say a few words to you. Ms. Goufus, do you move?
May it please the court. My name is Alana Skoufis, and I have been practicing as a barrister for about 4 months, and before that as a solicitor for about 8 years, predominantly in criminal and administrative law. On behalf of the Bar Association, I welcome you to the legal profession. This legal profession is an old profession based on precedent and the rule of law, while also being a profession that grows and develops to adapt to new practices and technology, like working off an iPad in court, which I encourage you to do. For several decades now, the composition of lawyers and barristers in New South Wales has changed to better reflect the community. The bar today is a welcoming place for people of all genders and backgrounds. And for those of you with difficult to spell or pronounce last names, you might become accustomed to spelling your last name in court. However, that doesn't mean anything other than you belong, because you do. It is an honour to be a lawyer, and in my case, a barrister, and I am proud to be a member of the legal profession. I enjoy the intellectual challenge of my job, and that it allows me to give expert advice, certainly not evidence, and to represent people in court. If you are interested in coming to the bar, and I hope that you are, you can contact the New South Wales Bar Association and have a look at the website, and there is also a Career at the Bar open day. In your first year of practice at the bar as a reader, as we are termed, you receive particular assistance from 2 barristers of at least 7 years seniority. They meet with you weekly and give you advice and teach you skills. The support you will receive is not limited to those 2 barristers. The bar is renowned for its collegiality, and it's often said that there is an open door policy. And sometimes when those things are said, they're not meant, but it very much is true as a barrister. There are also opportunities to become involved in the work of the New South Wales Bar Association, which is the professional body, much like the Law Society, that supports barristers and has a range of committees. And that includes a New Barristers Committee, which organises social and educational functions for barristers who are of 0 to 5 years of experience. And there is a Diversity and Equality Committee, which promotes one of the key strategic goals of the New South Wales Bar Association, to attract the best people to become barristers, regardless of their race, religion, gender, parental status, or sexual preference. Whether as a lawyer or a barrister, I encourage you to get involved in the Law Society or the Bar Association and to use your skills to assist the community. It is an extremely rewarding experience to practice in connection with others in your profession. Once again, on behalf of the New South Wales Bar Association, I welcome you to the legal profession and I congratulate you on your admission today. May it please the court.
Thank you, Ms. Goufus. Ms. Irvine, do you move?
May it please the court. My name is Olivia Irvin, and I'm the president of New South Wales Young Lawyers. And not so long ago, I stood where you stand today. Figuratively, that is, I was admitted during lockdown, meaning my experience was entirely online. But however your ceremony is held, it is truly a momentous and memorable occasion. You are here being admitted to the Supreme Court role as the final step on your years-long, diligent, and sometimes arduous journey. I hope each of you are immensely proud of what you've achieved. When I embarked on my career as a solicitor, I had no real idea of what to expect, and it was not always easy. Often, in fact, it was overwhelming. But as I stand here today, with 2 years of working as a lawyer for Hazelbrook Legal, I'm happy to report that I have learned and grown so much more since my admission in 2020. One of the most important things that I have learned is the value of belonging to a profession. The legal profession is an increasingly large and diverse community, one to which each of you belongs now as well. The Law Society of New South Wales is the home of that community. With our 30,000 members across the state, we are bound by our shared duties, our commitment to continuous learning, our desire to connect, and our drive to give back to our communities and uphold the rule of law. As an early career lawyer, I have found that belonging to a strong network of peers is crucial. That is why I have been a part of the Law Society's New South Wales Young Lawyers branch for 4 years. Here I have found inspiration, guidance and support when I needed it, as well as opportunities for advocacy in which we made significant and impactful change on considerable legal issues. By joining the Law Society of New South Wales and the New South Wales Young Lawyers branch, you can access professional support, events, a wide range of publications, professional development opportunities, mentoring, volunteer opportunities, and importantly, connection to the broader legal community. It is our role at the Law Society to ensure that you, newly minted solicitors, can thrive in your new profession. So again, congratulations to all of you. Please reach out to us or speak to your employer, and we look forward to welcoming you into the Law Society community. May it please the court.
Thank you, Ms. Goufus, and thank you, Ms. Irvin, for your very kind words. The only thing that I wanted to say to you before we adjourn is this. Should the situation arise in your careers where you find that things are becoming a little overwhelming, if you find at any time that you're having trouble, for example, coping with your workload, don't be afraid to take a step back, to adjust your workload, to ease down a little, and to turn to the enduring things in your life, your families, your friends, and your partners. In saying that, it suddenly occurred to me that my wife is sitting in this audience today. She is suddenly saying to herself, well, that's a very interesting proposition. You didn't do that once for the entire 30 years that I've known you. To that I would plead guilty and throw myself on the mercy of the court. And in mitigation, I would say that when I started practice 40 years ago, things like that simply didn't assume the significance that they do now. But what I want to emphasise is this. If you do find yourself in that position, stepping back for a little while and taking some time out is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of wisdom, and it is a sign of strength, and it is the way in which you can ensure that your career in the law is a very long and very satisfying one. We, lawyers, we're not doctors. We don't save people's lives on operating tables, but lawyers can and invariably do make a very positive difference to people's lives. On behalf of the judges of the court, I congratulate you again, and I wish you all the very best for what I'm sure will be some very exciting years ahead. The court will now adjourn.
All stand. This honourable court is now adjourned.